Hey everyone, welcome back. So today, we are talking about a true modern fantasy giant, the Priory of the Orange Tree. Now this is a massive book, and I know what you're thinking. Is it worth the commitment? Well, we're going to break it all down to help you figure out if this epic is your next big adventure.
All right, so let's just jump right in. This quote pretty much sums it up. Lush, ambitious, superb world building, memorable female characters. I mean, that sounds incredible, right? But, and this is a big but, that glowing review comes with one giant catch. And honestly, it's the one thing that will decide whether you love this book or not.
So to figure all this out, here's our game plan. We'll talk about what makes it an epic in one book, dive into the world which is divided by dragons, meet the queens and mages, unpack the big themes, and then, we're going to tackle that 800-page question. Let's get to it.
Okay, first up, an epic in one book. Let's talk about what makes this thing such a rare breed in the fantasy world.
So think about most epic fantasy you've read. You know the drill, right? You get hooked on book one and then you have to wait and wait for the sequel. Well, this is different. You get that huge, sweeping, world-spanning story, but it's all contained in a single volume. A beginning, a middle, and a definitive end. No cliffhangers, no waiting. It's the whole shebang right here.
Now let's get into the world itself. What makes it so interesting? Well, it's all built on one core conflict, one big disagreement that literally splits the world in two, and it's all about dragons. And this is the central divide right here. In the West, dragons are basically nightmare fuel. They're fire-breathing monsters, the ultimate evil. Their whole history is about slaying a big, bad dragon lord. But then you go to the East, and it's a complete 180. Dragons are revered. They're like gods, divine beings of water and wind. Becoming a dragon rider is the highest honor. This one disagreement, this one different belief, changes everything. Their religion, their politics, their whole way of life.
And it's not just a simple black and white, East versus West thing either. The world is so much richer than that. You've got these three totally distinct cultures, West, East, and South. And what's really cool is how many of the power structures are matriarchal. It's all incredibly detailed, with conflicting myths, different languages, unique politics. It just feels so real, like this world has existed for thousands of years.
All right, so that's the world. Now let's meet the people who live in it. The whole story is really driven by these powerful women who bring it all to life.
First up, there's Ede Durian. To everyone at court, she's just an outsider, a lady-in-waiting. But what they don't know is that she's secretly a warrior mage from a secret society, and her real job is to protect the queen, using magic that her kingdom considers heresy. Talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Next is Queen Sobran IX, the very person Ede is secretly protecting. This woman is carrying the entire world on her shoulders, literally. Her entire kingdom believes that her specific bloodline is the only thing that's keeping this ancient, world-destroying dragon locked away. So, no pressure.
And then, all the way across the world in the East, we have Tane. Her whole life has been focused on one single goal, to become a dragon rider. It's all she's ever wanted. But then, on the very cusp of achieving her dream, she makes a choice. A single choice that could bring her entire life and her entire world crashing down. Okay, so beyond the epic plot, what is this book really about? Well, it digs into some really powerful ideas.
I mean, look at these. You've got this deeply feminist exploration of power, with women running the show as queens, warriors, and leaders. Then there's this constant question of history versus myth, like who gets to tell the story of the past, and how does that story control the present? It's all about the conflict between your duty and what you truly want. And really central to the whole thing is an explicitly queer romance that forms a huge part of the emotional core of the story.
All right, we've talked about all the amazing things. Now we have to talk about the elephant in the room. This is the big one. It's the one thing about this book that divides everybody.
Yep, over 800 pages. This is a door stopper, a weapon. It is a beast of a book. And that length obviously has a huge impact on how the story feels to read. Let's be clear, this is not a quick, breezy read. This is a commitment.
And this really gets to the heart of the pacing debate. On one side, you have readers who say, yes, I love the slow burn. It's so immersive, you really get to know the characters, and the payoff is huge. But on the other side, you'll hear people say, ugh, the middle just drags. It feels like the plot just stops for like 200 pages. Both are totally valid takes, and it all depends on what you're looking for.
And that's the thing you have to understand going in. This slow pace, it's intentional. It's a feature, not a bug. The book is specifically designed to be a slow burn. It takes its sweet time building up the world, setting up the characters, laying all the groundwork, before everything finally comes together. So the real question for you is that a feature you're going to enjoy?
Okay, so we've looked at the world, the characters, the themes, and we've stared into the abyss of its 800-plus pages. Let's wrap this all up and figure out if this book is actually for you.
All right, here's the checklist for the ideal reader. If you're sitting there nodding along to this, like you love the idea of a standalone epic, you're all in for a slow burn story, you actively seek out feminist and queer narratives, and you just want to get lost in some dense political world building, then, honestly, you should probably just stop watching and go buy this book. It was practically written for you.
On the other hand, and hey, no shame in this game, if you're someone who needs the plot to hit the ground running, if you want things tight and fast-paced, this might be a frustrating read for you. If you dislike juggling multiple perspectives, or just don't have the time for a book this long, you might want to give it a pass.
So, in the end, it really all boils down to this. Is an 800-page epic your next adventure? Are you willing to trade a fast pace for massive scope? Are you ready to put in the time for a journey that's slow to start but builds to something truly special? If the answer is yes, then you've got an absolutely unforgettable story waiting for you. The choice is yours.